All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Random Hour podcast. As always, I am your co host, Devin Moore. As you can see, Kyle is not with us today. He gave me the driver's seat, and joke's on him. He left me unattended. So I asked somebody to get in the passenger seat, and we're going on a wild ride for the next hour. So I'm going to give him the floor real fast. Spence, floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Coming to you live from the passenger seat here on the Random Hour. I'm a voice actor. I am also a graphic designer and an artist as well. I've
Awesome.
I'm very excited to be here. So thank you so much for having me on, Devin.
Yeah. So my first question is, what got you into voice acting?
Great question. I started doing. Uh, I started off my journey originally doing solely stage acting,
Mm,
going all the way back to like 2008, 2009. And I was at a parade in my hometown, and I saw one of my classmates in the parade with a theater troupe, and I said, "Wait a minute, I can act right here in my hometown. That's wild!" And before long, I got bitten by the acting bug, and I loved it so very much. I loved being able to entertain people, to dress up and sing a song and do a dance number and entertain people for a few hours in the day and just take them off into another story. And I've been doing that ever since until 2020 was a bit hit a big bump in the road for me because as everyone knows with the pandemic that happened, live theater was kind of for a fair while, and I had all this. I didn't know what to do with myself, and I was just so bored, and it was just very isolating.
right.
And before, slowly as things were beginning to come back to normal, a friend of mine said, "Hey, um, I'd love for you to there's this funny sound that I'd love for you to try. It's on TikTok," and I'm like, "The heck is TikTok? I don't know what that's all about." And I decided that I would do some. This is my puppy Reese babysitting today, um, and just make some funny faces with some with the sound on TikTok, and I did that. And after that, we had a guest speaker coming to my one of my senior classes for one of my theater courses, and she happened to be a voice actress in Connecticut. For those who may know her, Gina Scarpa, very talented woman. And she told us how she's a full time voice actor from her home studio in her house in Connecticut. And that was even more of an eye opening moment for me because I'm like, all my life, I thought I had to go out to Hollywood and record in a studio with all the executives and the sound people and all that, in order to be a voice actor because
Right.
I love animation. But it really opened my eyes to what was possible, and the pandemic really changed things, and people had to work from home. So now it's a little bit more lenient where people can't do that from their own homes, hence the green room that we were in. And I officially kicked off doing that in early 2022. And it's been a blast ever since.
Right. Trust me, I know the feeling. We thought the same thing when we started back in 2019. We're like, oh man, we need a big studio, we need a producer, and it's just like, oh wait, no, we don't. We're all right. We're gonna figure it out together, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since. Oh man, that's so great. Hey, we are a nerd and sundries podcast. And you said you love animation, but besides animation, what other stuff do you nerd out about?
That's another great question. I do like me some anime. I like some animation and some anime.
Oh, okay.
Um, I love yeah, I love animation from like whether it be short films,
Mm,
TV shows, full length feature films, like things like Disney and Pixar, especially. I grew up on that stuff,
same.
and yeah, you know what it's like, Dev. You know what it's
Mm,
like. And as video games especially rank super high for me in the geeking out tier
oh yeah.
because whenever someone brings up certain titles and they start talking about it, my my nerd mode activates and I'm like, wait, you know about this? Oh my god, what was your it's
What game series are you thinking about?
Um, Off the top of my head, I remember there's so many in my lifetime. I've things like Street Fighter, Tekken,
Oh,
some
okay, yeah,
Halo,
Street Fighter, Tekken,
some Halo.
old school. Oh my goodness, yeah, some old school Halo. Listen, growing up with the old 360 era, you staying up all night drinking Mountain Dew and playing Halo Reach or Halo 3. You know what I mean?
Halo 3, yes.
Yes.
I listen, the theme song from Halo 3 part is embedded into my in me. It's just I know it by heart.
Yeah.
Beautiful choir singing.
God, and you know what's another Xbox Series one that it's sad. So outside of this, I coach and teach for a living. That's my full time job right now. Is that none of these kids know what Gears of War is.
What?
None of them. Last year, we finished up for the day, and the kids know I'm a gamer. Like I don't hide that side of me because I'm like, to build relationships with kids, and it's just, if they ask you like, Coach, do you game? I'm like, yeah. And like, what was your favorite series growing up? I was like, well, one of them was Gears of War. Gears of War. And they're like, what? And like, I literally sat there because we have these nice big Panethium. You know what Panethium boards are? They're like these nice. It's basically an electronic whiteboard. Have you seen them?
An electronic whiteboard?
Mm.
I don't know if I have. I
Oh,
I, I may have, but I'm totally blanking on it if I have seen them before.
yeah, they are like on steroids. They're so great. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, excuse me. I said, hold on, hold on, hold on. So I'm like, I went on the board. I went to YouTube. I was like, Gears of War trailer, and I showed them the cinematic trailer, and they all looked at all 30 of them blank face. Guys and girls were just like, Coach, we don't even know what this is. And I was like,
What?
when I'm telling you, like, I I think a tear came down my face. I was like, oh God, they're not making video games like they used to anymore.
No, they are
And
definitely not. These children need to learn that this was some top ranking stuff back in
uh,
my day.
I'm telling you. And like and what's funny right now because I have the Xbox Game Pass. I'm actually playing. I just beat Gears of War 3 not that long ago, and I just started 4. So I'm like, I might as well play through that series because they're all on there. And I just think of that conversation every time I boot it up. I'm like, these kids don't even know what they're missing.
No, and as a matter of fact, for if you may know this very well, Devin, and for anyone who's viewing out there, let's go back in time for a little bit
All
because
right.
how my experience in gaming started was back in the days of like Blockbuster and Hollywood
Yep.
Video.
Yep.
Back when you had to be like, Mom, I want to rent this new game that just came out. And it's like, okay. So you drive on down to the store and
Yep.
you browse through the shelves and you pick one off. And like a library book, it was like, you have to return this by this date. And it's like, okay.
That's
And
like, yeah. And you stay up all
then
night.
GameStop came along, and I was like, I could buy these and never return them.
And for a decent deal, yeah. Hey, you know what else? Do you remember GameFly? I
Yes,
didn't know they were
yes,
still
I
around.
do.
I
Seriously?
Yeah, yes, and I was on YouTube listening to what was I listening to? I was doing some editing cuz usually when I edit our episodes, I just turn YouTube on in the background for noise or whatever cuz I'm one of those people where I'm like I need noise. I don't know if it's cuz I'm around kids all day. I'm like I need noise.
I do
And
too.
I'm just like all of a sudden I just hear, "Hey, yeah, come to GameFly. We're still around. We can still send them in your mailbox." I'm like, "Oh, you are? I thought GameStop put you out of business."
It's like the clouds parted
It
and a rain
did.
shine down. It's like, yes, thank you.
The sad part is I still didn't subscribe. I was like, wow, I'm glad you're still around. But yeah, it was like I do remember the blockbuster days and the Hollywood video. I know some of our younger viewers are gonna be. I'm telling you, they're gonna be like, "What Hollywood video?"
I've the reason why I bring that up is just because I did want to coincide with you how when you told your story about kids not knowing what a Gears of War is.
Hmm.
um I think the time when I really felt like I was dating myself is when I there was I was at a party and there were some younger kids and I was talking about video games and movies and everything and
Uh,
I'm like, oh yeah, and we used to have them on like VHS players and DVDs, and
mm,
you even had music that you put into your car for like the music you wanted to
CD
hear.
player, yeah.
None of this iPhone, and they're like, "What's a DVD?"
Oh my god, I know exactly what you're talking. Oh my god, listen,
Oh my god!
my
Oh
youngest
no!
brothers don't even. My youngest brothers who are 21 years old, they we used to put on the VHS tape for them, but you think they would know. But recently, I'm like, hey, work this, and they're like, they just looked at it. They're like, why are you giving me this? I don't know how to work a VHS tape, and I just went to the corner and cried.
Yeah, I feel that at a very deep level. I feel that.
Although this is what's crazy. This happened to me last week. One of my eighth graders, she had a CD player, and
Wow.
I'm like, you know
Okay.
what this is? And she's like, yeah, coach, I burn CDs, and I'm like,
She
who?
even knows what burning a CD
Yes,
is.
I said, who's your parents? Who's
She
raising
was
you?
raised right.
Who's raising you? And she is the, and like I said, the way I build relationship with kids is they ask me if I like anime and I like video games, and she's one of those ones. She's like, yeah, my parents put me on Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho,
Classic.
and she just names off all the classic 91s. I'm like, somebody raised you right.
Yeah, it's that's a proud moment for sure. Secondhand proud moment, kind of be like, thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. So
Golly.
one kid knows.
Well, what killed me is she knew what burn a CD was, and she's like, she had a burnt CD with like the current hits, like with Espresso or something. I'm like, how in the world did you? And she's like, Coach, I burn CDs. I'm like, someone raised you right.
Yeah.
Somebody raised you right. Oh man, but yeah, another video game series you might remember is I got it for dirt cheap on the PlayStation Store was Saints Row 3.
That one I never played
R-
actually.
really?
I do remember that title. I
Really?
do remember Saints Row, but I did not play it myself, unfortunately.
Oh man, I got it for like dirt cheap. Like it was PlayStation. I'll say this, and this has always been my biggest complaint with all the brands. Like PlayStation will mark their stuff down dirt cheap during the holidays. Xbox has got better exclusives, and then Nintendo's just Nintendo. Although I am excited. Were you a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan growing up? Pokemon, anything like that?
I loved Pokemon. I couldn't. I'm trying to get into Yu-Gi-Oh. One of my friends is actually taking me through the anime to
Uh,
try and teach me how to play Yu-Gi-Oh. But I was definitely much more of a Pokemon kid. I had all the books. I had some cards as well. Wall art, plushies, you name it. I was definitely a Pokemon kid.
oh man, well I'm excited
Team
for
Charizard.
yeah Team Charge. Oh gosh, I was Team Squirtle. I feel like what's Kyle's? We've done so many Pokemon content creators too on the show. I think Kyle was Team Charizard as well. I know I'm Team Squirtle
Heck
because growing up,
yeah.
that's another thing too. None of these kids know what Pokemon Red and Blue are. They just know
No.
the middle school age know X and Y because that's theirs. You know what I mean?
That was I could imagine that that was around when they were still young and growing up, so that was their first experience at
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon. But
And
being
meanwhile,
someone who's like our age is like
Red and Blue,
there's so
Gold.
much more before that though.
Oh my goodness, one of them. Oh gosh, and I stopped playing Pokemon 2010. I got back into it maybe about 2 years ago because my brother surprised me with a Switch, and I was like, and he had a Switch and he had Pokemon Scarlet, and I was like, okay, we'll get back into it. We'll play together or whatever. And one of these kids said one of the newer ones could beat Suicune because I was like, yeah, Suicune, Zapdos, Arnatino, Lugia. They're like, so and so can main Lugia. I'm like, boy, get out of here.
Yeah, it's like
Get out of here.
please
Get
sit down. Sit
get out.
down and come back to me when you've brushed up on your skills and your knowledge of Pokemon types and please.
I looked at them. I said, you better get lunch attention. Get out of here. Get. They're like, what? I said, go sit down. Go do your research. You got some free time. Go look up the old gens. Telling me, I
Quiet,
don't even remember who it
the
was.
adults are talking.
Yeah, for real. Like I honestly pout that day. I'm just And I was pouting for a good second. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, kid don't even know what he's talking about.
He has so much to learn.
I'm telling you. I'm trying to think what's another old series. Spyro's making a comeback. Did you ever play Spyro?
Yes. Yes. Have I heard of Spyro? That was another between Spyro and Crash Bandicoot.
Yep. Those two. I'm glad they brought those
They
back because
they're they were they were one of they're both greats in my time.
I'm trying to think of another one. Gosh, you just brought back core memories about Blockbuster. You remember as a kid staying up late with a PlayStation 2 and you didn't have a memory card and you left it on all night because you didn't want to lose your progress?
I listen. I actually I have so many people. I have so many people that I've known, including yourself, who are like, "I grew up on the PlayStation." I'm like, I didn't grow up on the PlayStation. I grew up on things like the Game Boy and Xbox, and
Never mind, you didn't go through the struggle.
I did. No, I. It was more so I went through the struggle of It was like it's just okay. One more level, and it's like Spencer.
Yeah, I know. And
You have
you,
school the next morning. It's like, but I gotta beat this level.
oh, I know. Mom's telling you got to go to bed, and she's like, "Hey, give me that Game Boy." You do the old hide underneath the covers. She's like, "I gotta
Hi,
beat this level,"
yeah,
and she's
the,
like,
the,
"I
the,
know
the-
you're asleep." Ugh.
it's the light glowing under the covers, but turn the volume all the way down.
Oh yeah, and you're just
Maybe
like,
they'll never know.
They'll never know. They'll never know. Mom just comes busting through the door. I knew you want to sleep. Give me that Game Boy. But give it to me.
I've such fond, great memories.
I'm telling you. I tell my wife all the time. I said I'm glad I also tell these kids. I tell my middle schooler and high school kids. I'm like, you know what? If we could go back to the year 2000s, the early 2000s, I was like, y'all wouldn't survive. Y'all wouldn't know what to do.
No,
And they're
not
like,
at
Coach, you've been,
all.
and they all, argue with me. They're like, Coach, you're used to this technology too. I said, I am, and I'm thankful for this technology. But I'll tell you one thing, I'll survive.
Yeah, I know what to do with my time, like going outdoors and spending time with friends and doing water balloon tosses and playing tag, running through sprinklers, slip
The,
and slides. Jeez Louise.
and you know what's crazy? Me and my wife were talking about this. Is with the streaming service. You remember as a kid, you watching your favorite cartoon. What was your favorite cartoon to nerd out about? I'm sorry, you said you liked animation as well. What was your
I
favorite Saturday morning
do.
cartoon?
I think I would have to say off the top of my head SpongeBob SquarePants. Solely
Nice,
because I watched a lot of cartoons like Codename Kids Next Door, Grim Adventures of
nice.
Billy and Mandy.
But I've been, you know, gosh, as of this recording, Max took a good chunk of that away because I was binge watching Billy and Mandy, and it's just like,
I they're reducing their catalog and it's breaking my heart.
I,
What am I supposed to do?
well, I'm like, I like the new stuff too. That's like, I like the new stuff too. I'm a big Spider-Man fan, so like, I just started the new Spider-Man series on there. It's pretty cool. It's the animation style is more like a comic book, and it's kind of appealing. I'm like, this is not that bad.
I cannot wait. Yeah, funny that you bring up Spider-Man just because last night my grandmother was she was like, "Oh, look, there's this movie, The Amazing Spider-Man's coming on." And she's like, "I don't know if I'll watch it. I don't really like this kind of stuff." And she ended up watching both 1 and 2.
Uh,
And by the second one she's like, "Oh, I just couldn't believe what happened." Oh, that
yeah,
total I was like, if you know, you know, but
yeah.
it just getting to see her reaction in real time was like
Oh, that's sweet.
it's we you go for I was thinking to myself, well, you never thought you'd get into it, grandma, but here we are. We're
Yeah.
shedding tears.
Yeah, no, my grandmother was the same way. So growing up, she's like for birthdays, she'd take us to the movies, and then she's like, growing up during the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans and that era and the Transformers, her and my granddad would be like, "Huh, it is pretty good."
It's like, yeah, you look what you're missing out on. Look what you're missing out on, Nana and Pops. You're missing out on a lot.
Yeah, my grandfather, I remember we went and saw the first Transformers because like he knew what Transformers was, raising my mom, and he was like, man, I can't wait for the second one. And then when Revenge of the Fallen came out, he's like, y'all boys want to go? Like it wasn't even our birthday. He's like, y'all want to go?" And we're like, "Sure." And he just, it's
Why
funny
not?
how the generation's getting into it, especially the live action stuff. Did your grandma watch No Way Home? And sounds like she's an Andrew Garfield fan. Did she at least watch No Way Home yet?
She didn't. She hasn't seen that one yet, just because both of them were on, they were both on, regular broadcasting, television last night,
Okay.
and it was getting late for her, so she just finished the second one, but I'll
Oh,
definitely be like, "Hey, listen, if you wanna watch No Way Home, then
yeah.
z
She
you
sounds
could
like she was
continue
getting
the
into
Andrew
Andrew
Garfield
Garfield.
saga."
They
It was so cute just because she was like, "The 2 of them loved each other so much. Their
love each other so
connection their
much.
connection was so real.
It
It
was
was a
so
little
real.
far-fetched at some points," and I'm like, Grandma, he got bitten by a radioactive spider, and he has spider powers. Yes, it's a little far-fetched,
She said it
but
was
the
far.
love is real."
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold up. Your grandma thought their love was a little far fetched.
No, that she liked.
Oh,
Everything else,
okay.
she's like, "The action was a little far-fetched. The guy made of electricity, that was a little unrealistic." No, really?
But the romance, she was
I
like,
love
"This is
her.
real."
Yeah,
Oh, that is
the love is real.
oh, that is so sweet. She said the love was real, but the guy with electricity,
The love was real.
the guy with electricity. Come on, man. But the love was real.
Yes.
Oh, oh, that made my day. I'm gonna tell my wife that. That is so sweet. Well, I hope she gets around to watching No Way Home. She sounds like she's a Andrew Garfield fan now for life.
I will definitely have to introduce her to that one just so she can see what happens next. Um, I will say,
Uh,
on the topic, bringing it back to animation,
uh.
have you, Devin, seen like Into the Spider Verse and Across the Spider Verse? Have you
I
seen
have,
those?
and I have, and
Talk to me.
it's so beautiful. It's I how do I put this? So it's funny you mentioned this. We did a couple interviews ago with a comic book creator, and I read the comics regularly, and I am big. I love Miles' story, right? He came out in 2011, and I make this as a comparison. I might get in some hot water for this, but it's okay. Peter Parker, when he was created, was in the 60s, right? We all know that.
Hmm.
Peter, bad luck, but again, cut and dry, right? He is a product of the 60s, right? And Miles is the product of the early 2000s. And I like the current writing team because they're like, hey, young adults that are dealing with mental health problems or, anxiety, you know, Miles is like beating himself up. He has panic attacks. He doesn't know what to do in the situation. And they write it so well. And that's what I tell people. I feel like Miles is the better Spider-Man for this generation because he's more human. And he's like, "Hey, I need help." Where Peter Parker, yeah, Peter has his own tribulations, but Peter's like, "Dude, I've been at this for so long, I got it." And that's why I
I
enjoy the movies.
I I agree with you in that front, especially for not just for Miles Morales, but for a lot of animations and movies and shows nowadays. I really appreciate the how they showcase people's feelings, the complicated stuff,
Mhm.
just because we are complicated human beings and we feel a lot of things, we go through a lot of emotions, and sometimes we feel very isolated and alone, and like no one else could possibly know what I'm feeling right now,
Right.
what I'm going through. But I like when all kinds of media really focuses in on that and highlights it and shows that everyone has moments like that and that
Mhm.
it's okay to feel like that. Even the heroes feel like that sometimes. The people who are look unstoppable and stop the bad guys and save the day, they have their moments where they're anxious and they're scared and they're just their head is spinning.
Yeah. They do a really good job. I feel like in Spider-Verse in the first one, I've only watched the second one twice. I got to rewatch it. The first one they did good, and like I said, in the comic runs they do good. Even when he first came out in the early 2000, 2011. Have you read his comics any?
I've seen snippets of his comics. I
Okay.
gotta find where I can better access the full versions of them,
Uh,
just because I want to read more about the full story. Because
right.
while the movies are beautiful, I feel like there's a lot more lore and details that are in the comic series.
I'm gonna be honest with you. For his first part, yes, but Into the Spider Verse does such a good job for when he first came out. Like you'll see him, you know, just to give you a little background. You know, his family was, I'd say, middle class, maybe low class. I feel like at the beginning, and they want to take him to that, that nice school he was at in the movies. Same concepts,
Yeah,
same concepts applies. But they had to do a lottery, which I don't think the movie did the lottery scene, but the lottery scene was so crazy, and you can see all these income families, low and mid, that want to give their kid a chance. And it was like, and you could just see the artist drew it so good, and you can see everybody's emotions in the panels. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty good stuff. So if you enjoy Into the Spider Verse and beyond, you'll like his original. You'll like his comic because you're like, oh, yeah, this was in the movie, and the movies do a good job with his character in both of them. And in the second one, like I said, I've only watched the second one once, so you might have to correct me. I like Miguel O'Hara because he's kind of like that in the comics too. He's kind of broody. He's kind of like nose to the book. He's like, hey, we're doing it this way, and
he's very stubborn, and he doesn't like to lean to other people's ideas and their suggestions. He's
mm-hmm,
like, no, I'm in charge. What I say goes, and no one questions my authority.
yeah,
That's
he,
just how it is. And that causes more problems than there needed to be in as things progress.
yeah. And then Gwen's character, Spider Ghost, in the movie. I haven't read much of her comics, but I will like in that movie too. Like she was dealing with grief, right? Because in her universe, Peter became the lizard, and he died. Right? It's like you said. She was processing that grief, and the movies just do a good job of showing all these emotions. Also, I like John Mulaney as Spider Ham. We need another Spider Ham movie.
Yes. Thank you. Someone said it. Spider Ham was the goat. He
They didn't
was
get
the goat.
they didn't give him enough time. I liked him and Spider May with the little with her little mobile suit spider. I was like, that's kind of cool. But I'm also a John Mulaney fan, and I was like, can we not get? I just want a Spider Ham movie. I just really enjoyed it.
His performance was absolutely incredible. It made the character it made him I couldn't possibly imagine another voice actor in that position just because his energy matched Spider-Ham to a T
Mm-hmm.
and really gave him so much personality and made him so memorable even though he wasn't the main focal character in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It really made people remember him, and I'm so glad that he's getting the recognition that he deserves.
Well, yeah, he's just, and John Mulaney is one of those. He just has perfect timing. He's like, he's got
So talented.
yeah, and he's just got that charisma to him, and he's just like, I don't know. It was just that was perfect casting. I would even say for Nicolas Cage, I'm excited for the live action that's coming up. Now that's his comics. Whew, it is. I'm excited to see what they'll do for the show because that one is off the walls, dark and gritty, and it's just like, ooh, I can't wait. If you've seen Spider-Man, if in fact, if you do get into the comics, read the whole New Noir universe. There's Daredevil New Noir, Spider-Man New Noir. I think the Thing New Noir as well. It's a mini series. It's also good. I enjoy the New Noir universe when they do decide to make a book. I recommend that to people.
That that's also to all our listeners out there. Go check that out if you haven't already.
Let's see.
Just because I think that something else that should also be highlighted with all of that being said is like artists in general, especially like a lot of the like comic book illustrators should they like give them some love and some recognition just because there's some seriously talented people who make those things.
Mm-hmm.
And some people may be like, well, duh, that's what makes it a comic book. But it's like, no, listen. People they had to take the time to draft out all of these panels and to put in all these details and make all the spacing and proportions just right to get the energy and the emotion and the action into what's going on and keep the flow going. It's very well done, and there's some seriously talented people out there.
Yes, there is. All right. On to my next question. What is a dream character that you would love to voice?
Golly, I ask myself this almost every day. Is it a character that's existing, or would it be a character that is like not existing?
You can do both if you want.
Okay, I guess I would say that a dream role that I would love to have, it would be either I would love to do Olaf, because I recently found out that I could do a fairly nice Olaf impression, so that would be a lot of fun. Love the Frozen movies. I would also love to do characters like Billy from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, just because Richard Steven Horvitz is such a
So
talented
talented.
guy. I love his voice, and I'd he's just such a talented, charismatic guy.
Mm-hmm.
I love him and his energy, and maybe even roles something like Scar from The Lion
Ooh.
King, because I do like a lot like villain characters are just very fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing, if I may say, one thing I personally am
Mm-hmm.
still trying to find my footing with
Oh.
is doing hero characters. Hero characters are a little bit more difficult for me to find,
Mm-hmm.
just because with villains you get to explore more and be
Right.
fun. And what's better than being a little bad sometimes?
Oh man, that's awesome. No, you're not. The other voice actors we brought on have said the same thing. It's fun to be bad, and and like they said, the heroes are kind of like I said, they're just cut cheek to the wall. Like you get what you get. But with villains, are like, oh, um, we can just be creative because villains are like, oh, I'm gonna twist this society rule or whatever and just have fun with it, and that's awesome.
It's well, heroes are kind of they have moral obligations and a duty to protect people and to save the day
Mm,
and be the good guy. It's like that's nice, and we everyone loves a good hero, but you can't have a good hero without a fantastic villain.
mm,
Also, just because like you said, Devin, with villains, there's no boundaries or rules that they have to follow, because it's like I make my own rules,
mm.
and no one is going to tell me otherwise.
Awesome. Let's see. Let's see. We kind of already talked about that. Let's see. Okay. What has been the biggest challenge as a voice actor that you faced so far?
In terms of doing performing or technical things, or
Yeah, a little bit of both if you want to share both, or you can just share performing.
I think some experiences that I've had. First, I'll start off with a little bit more of the technical stuff. Is I love being a voice actor. It's so
Mm,
much fun, and to just get some sillies out and make fun noises behind a mic for a couple hours in the day and get paid to do it.
right.
Bonus. Um, I did, especially when starting out. I've had to take a look at a lot of the equipment that was essential in order to be able to do this professionally, and I had to really have a stern sit down with myself and be like, "Listen, if I want to do this, then I have to invest in it. I can't be shy about spending some cash and getting the right equipment, because it's essential for the sound quality that I have for not only voice acting but for doing podcasts like this and interviews. And it was intimidating at first, and finding out how everything works and playing around with the equipment. There was that, and if you can ask a multitude of voice actors what kind of equipment they should get, what to start off with, and you'll get a different answer every time.
Right.
It's because everyone has different experiences and different experience with certain types of equipment. And I think some some issues that I've had when it comes to actually performing is yeah, there have been a fair few of times, and I'm not shy to admit that,
Mm,
where I would where I run into issues where it comes to clipping,
Mm,
because with a lot of lines, it can fluctuate greatly between a candid conversation, and immediately it grows and crescendos into this humongous yell and shouting and angry, or the like.
mm,
And yeah, I know. And there's issues with that just because sometimes I'll finish a take and I'll be like, "Yes, that felt right. That's how exactly how I wanted it to sound." And then I'll go back, I'll play it back, and I'll listen back to it,
mm.
and I'll be saying to myself, "Ow, my ears. That was painful." And I have to go back, and I've got to try it again and do and see if I can make it sound a little cleaner, less sloppier, just because I don't want to sound like too much of a hot mess.
Right.
So there's issues with that. And also, one other thing is totally not blowing out my voice, because that's happened once or twice.
Ooh.
And I would not like to do that again. Uh, Quick little story time
Yeah,
for
go ahead.
everyone listening. I was what was asked for one of the takes that I did was a musical number, and also speaking in between lines of music. And I was getting so frustrated because the timing was off, and the timing was off on certain parts, and I'd have to go back and do it again. I was getting frustrated, and I was getting to the point where I was doing it. It was my 60th take. No lie, it was
Ooh.
my 60th take.
60?
Yeah, it was, and of my voice, I definitely started to hear it where I was pushing myself a little too much, and my throat was killing me, but I'm like, I have to get this take. I have to do it. I got to get it. But eventually I got to the point where I've got myself to stop. But for the rest of the day, I was very raspy and very sore. And um, some of my more experienced voice actor friends were like, "Hey, yeah, so maybe don't do that next time, because that's how you permanently damage your vocal cords." I'm like, "Oh, right."
Well, here's
And
my
they're like,
question.
"Yeah."
The Did they ask for 60 takes, or did you do 60 takes because you were like, "I can't get this right"?
It was 60 takes because I just couldn't get it right. It was,
Ah,
either
okay.
it, like, whether it was my tongue malfunctioned, and I was talking, and it's like, ugh,
Oh, no,
gotta
trust
do
me,
it
that was me
again.
last night during our second show when I was wrapping up my set. I was like, "Blah, blah, blah, words are hard," and people are just laughing. I'm like, I know the feeling."
It's like our internal computer, it just
Mm,
decides to randomly malfunction. It's like, "How does one English again?"
yeah,
It
for real.
does not compute does not compute.
Yeah. How do I tell this joke again? Blah, 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 blah. Words are hard. Gotta reset. uh,
I have to reboot.
yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. Trust me, we've been there. We've even done that in a couple of our episodes too, where we're just both. Uh, we've done that too on this podcast, where we'll just both go blank midway through, and we're like, "Oh my goodness, we're gonna keep rolling." I know that feeling of just your brain just shuts down for a second because it's like, "Hold up, I need a reboot."
The blue screen shows up, and you're like, "Uh-oh,
Oh
not a good
god,
time for this to happen."
yeah. Oh god, the blue screen. Oof. Oh man. Speaking of, and this is a question Kyle had made, and he's gonna be so upset that he couldn't make it. But what is your favorite dinosaur?
My favorite dinosaur. Man, oh man. While the T-Rex may seem like an easy answer just because I've got this big guy behind me,
Uh,
um, Tink the T-Rex, also that my mascot and my emotional support dinosaur. Um, while T-Rex would be like the easy answer,
uh,
I want to take it a step further and say either I love like the Mosasaurus and the Plesiosaurus and the Spinosaurus
nice.
are probably some cool ones. Oh, and Stegosaurus. Stegosaurus is
Stegosaur.
super cool too.
Yeah, when you emailed us first time, Kyle was like, "Oh my god, he loves dinosaur," and he was like, "I gotta ask him a dinosaur question." And like I said, he couldn't be here today, and he was like, "I just wanted to talk dinosaurs and voice acted." and
I
video
am
games.
I am always happy to talk about all of the above. So even if me and Kyle aren't able to talk today, do let him know that I'm always available to talk dinosaurs, video games, animation
Yeah.
all day, every day.
I do love that background. I'm just like, "Ooh, that's kinda nice." So, with that background, I is that 3D printed? Did you paint that? How'd you go along with making that behind you?
So how I went about doing this behind me
Uh,
is it's a vinyl sticker that
okay.
a giant vinyl sticker that I have up behind me in all of my videos.
Mm,
And but I created the art myself. So the everything but the adhesive and all that is I made it myself.
I do, I love it. That's like I'm like, "Ooh, that's cool." I
Thank
love
you. Thank you.
I love it. Alright, so nice we always like to have fun. We have a fun little question right here for the people at home to get to know you. What is your go-to snack on a road trip?
It depends on the mood, whether I'm in a sweet or a savory mood. Let's say if I'm feeling some savory, I gotta get it's like either some pretzel sticks or some salt and vinegar Lay's potato
Uh-huh.
chips. So good.
See, this
I
is
could
why we
clear a
become
whole.
friends. Pretzel sticks
I
is my
could.
go-to.
They're so good, and I'm a huge chocolate person.
Oh,
So
yeah?
if I just really want to put the two together, like chocolate covered pretzels,
Mm.
heaven,
Chocolate oh, you
heaven
have
on
you
earth.
tried the, pretzel M&Ms?
Yes, yes, I have.
Oh, those are probably out of the whole M&M thing, they're, like, in my top 3 because 'cause I'm one of those ones where if I'm driving or I'm just like I'll get, like, the big bag and I'll just pop them in there. I'm like, nice." And it's funny, one of my buddies, he was up late, so when I was driving back from the show, I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, "Eating pretzel M&Ms." This is like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, "Dude, thanks for staying up." He's like, "I didn't stay up for you. I'm eating pretzel M&Ms." I'm like, "Why are you eating pretzel M&Ms at 1 in the morning?" He's like, "Why are you driving home at 1 in the morning?" Touche, touche.
It's can't argue with that. Why am I still? I should just fall asleep at the wheel now.
Yeah, no, huh? Just yeah, you know what? You got a point. Let me just pull over to a curve.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love. Have you tried the coffee M&Ms yet?
I didn't, and the only reason why is because I'm not a coffee person.
Really?
I'm not a coffee person, and it's just because I had one cup of coffee ever that I really liked, and
Uh.
it was like French vanilla.
Ooh.
Just because it was semi-sweet and I could
Uh.
tolerate that, but everything else, every other kind of coffee is just so bitter to me, and I don't like it.
Don't like the bitter taste.
I don't.
I'm like that too sometimes. Certain brands, like I like the bitterness with Dunkin' Donuts, but Starbucks bitterness, I'm like, y'all got to put creamer in this, you know?
My mom is the same way actually.
Yeah,
She's like because I love Starbucks hot chocolate, but while we're there, I'm like, "Do you want to get a coffee?" She's like, "No." I would melt the enamel off of my teeth if I drank one of their coffees.
yeah,
It's too strong.
yeah,
Dunkin' it is.
yeah. Oh man, Dunkin'. We just got Dunkin' in the town where I'm coaching at right now. So like I've been twice, and I'm like, oh hell, I miss you, Dunkin', because Dunkin's my go-to, and then we have a local. If you guys are ever down here in South Georgia, go to Red Owl. It's pretty good. It's a blend. They got good hot chocolate. They're doing a. If you come during the fall, they do like a hot chocolate cold foam on top of it. Oh, it's so good. And
Okay,
it
I know where I'm going this fall.
it's
Making a note of that.
but it's a. This is not a paid advertisement for Red Owl, but it's interesting because it's a cold foam, but it's not ruining the hot chocolate. It was unique, and I was like, this is unique because this is the year I tried it, and I was like, this is unique. And then they did a sugar cookie around Christmas. I was
Oh,
like, oh man, my doctor's gonna kill me for this, but
yeah.
it's so good.
You're on cloud nine right now.
I am. I was just like, and my wife is a big hot chocolate person too. She's like, yeah, I want one, and she's like, I want a cold foam, and we're just God, we were addicted for a minute when it came out. Probably went like 5 times a week. There's 10 cups in the trash can.
Oh wow.
I'm just like, well, glad these aren't caffeinated, so I don't think we'd have a problem here.
I was gonna say like if it was caffeinated, it'd be like my God, the two of you must have been bouncing up and down off the walls. But like it's a lot of energy. Here we go.
Oh gosh, no, I have buddies that'll drink. It's funny. Who were we were talking to somebody. The pre-workout stuff. Oh my god. Oh, I'll tell you this story. And this is actually one of my new jokes. I work in athletics, like I said, and our strength and conditioning guy, he has his own like pre-workout stuff. Just to, just a little boost. You don't need that much. You just need about this much to wake you up, right? And it's for the kids. Like I said, it's not dangerous. A small little shot. It wakes up the blood vessels, helps the kids moving. Wakes up the muscles. And I was dragging that morning. He's like, Devin, do you? He says, Hey, Devin, you okay? You kind of dragging this morning. I was like, Yeah, hey, I'm tired. And before I went to class, I said, Hey, let me get a shot of that pre-workout. God, I tell you one thing, I've never felt so energetic. Like I'm sitting in class like this. I'm like, and the kids are like, Coach, you good? I'm like, and like I'm like speed walking, and I'm scratching my face, speed walking. I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. I just can't sit still. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. And, like everything was open. I think I saw colors.
Yeah.
I was like, dude. And I looked at him. I said, and the separator, like I said, it was just that big, and that's what he gives the kids. I was like, dude, Coach, what did you give me? He's like, did you go lift? I was like, no, I was sitting in class. He's like, you got to lift. He's like, did you at least walk around? I said, no. I said, he's like, you got to move, you got to move, or you're gonna be itching. I said, man, yeah, I was scratching like I was the local crackhead outside the Circle K looking for some change.
I was like, geez, now you tell me. I was ready to tear my own skin off. I
Yeah,
was, didn't know what to do with myself.
be sitting out in the hallway. You got some change? Got some change?
Do you guys
Uh,
have change for the vending machine? I
yeah,
just need to grab myself a little bit of a snack for the morning. You know how
yeah,
it goes.
yeah, for real. I need DoorDash something. Hold up, I'm short on some DoorDash. Golly, I'll tell you one thing in teaching. These kids, these teenagers, I don't deal with much of the middle school level. When I was doing high school, these kids will DoorDash your
During the
name.
day?
Yes.
What?
Yes, they have no like I had one girl who was like, "Hey coach, I got Subway coming and I put your name on it." I said, "Uh-uh.
No,
No."
no, I don't think so.
She's like, "Coach, I'm letting you have the sandwich." I said, "Yeah, you think?" But I said, "Don't ever put my name because obviously if it's for a student, like, bro, why are you on your phone?" I'm
Yeah.
like, she gave me half the sandwich, but I'm like, don't do this ever again. She's like, yes, sir. I said, all right, but dude, it's crazy how much DoorDash would come through that high school, and I'm
I
like,
I'm surprised that they're. I'm surprised. Number one, back when both of us were in school,
uh,
that wasn't really a thing, or maybe it was, but it didn't really pick up until the last couple years or so. But it's like the fact that kids are just so unfazed to be like, yeah, just I'm gonna order some food. I'm gonna Uber it over during the
oh, I
middle of
just
my
remember,
seminar. It's like, child,
yeah.
wait for lunch like everyone. How would you survive if you grew up when we did?
Well, here's my thing. Growing up, were y'all allowed to leave campus during lunch, or did they just trip out on you? Because
Um,
ours, it
I could
depended.
I could leave. I could only really like leave campus like during like yeah, anytime that it did anytime I didn't have class, but that was in college. Other
Yeah.
than that though, we were confined to school. Like we weren't allowed to just get in the car and go for a joyride and go somewhere and buy something. It's like no. Eat eat what you brought to school and eat it at your table with like
I
everyone
know.
else. Either that or buy lunch.
Well, like I'm in a nice school too, and this is you're gonna be shocked by this. I'm in a nice school, especially at the high school. This is gonna blow your mind, okay? Three
Oh,
lines,
I'm
cause
ready. My socks are on.
oh no, when I got down here in 21, I was blown away. Uh, these kids have three lines, a nice salad bar, nice little chicken plate every day, and then pizza if they wanted it. And they're like, "Coach, this food nasty." I'm like, "Bro, what you talking about?" I said, "Y'all got an actual salad bar. You know what my salad was? In a sack."
In a paper bag. Maybe sometimes if you were lucky in one of the aluminum lunch boxes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And heck, when I was senior in high school, they started doing like like a food branch came out where they had like calzones. Like it looked like a Pizza Hut box, but it
Oh
wasn't
my
Pizza Hut.
god.
And I was like, bet everybody wanted the calzone because they were actually decent. But these kids have like nice salads. The teachers get pretty creative. We'll take the chicken tenders and cut it up on our salads and get a little bit of ranch and honey mustard, mix it. It's so good. And we're all like, and these kids don't know what they got, and they're like, yeah, I went McDonald's, and I'm like, why?
Wait, now, why would you do that?
It's
It, kids, come on.
same kids that don't even know what Gears of War is. I'm like, of course, Gears of War fans don't know. Of course, a non Gears of War fan wants
Of course,
McDonald's.
yeah, it's you go up to them. It's like you would. You don't know what Gears of War is. I thought you would complain about the school lunches. For shame.
Oh gosh. You know what's crazy too with them with the video games? They all love Fortnite. It is so crazy. That's all they play. Fortnite and 2K and
I
Madden.
I I've I will say that I did try Fortnite once or twice. I couldn't get into it.
Really?
Yeah, I could have. It just wasn't totally up my alley, but gave it a try, saw what the hype was about, and I'm like, that's nice.
I'm the
What's
same way
next?
now. Yeah, I'm the same way now. I got into it when it first came out, and now I just mess with them. But I haven't played in years, but I like to mess with them. I'm like, y'all don't want this smoke. I will create a new account, and I will jump in a lobby, and you're just gonna see Coach Nevis sniped you through the bushes, 1-on-1. You know how you get the little fake tag,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'll make you. And we were just having this conversation Thursday because I was just, school was ending, and like I said, I like to just mess with them. And I was like, I'd smoke all of you. And they're like, no, coach, I'm a diamond tier. I can build like 20 builds. I said, okay, I said, y'all didn't grow up in the Halo era.
Yeah.
Co-
You don't know
Come at
you
me.
don't know how to just camp out and lay
Yeah, I
low at the
know.
moment.
Oh, gosh. Y'all didn't know how to camp. And I will say about Fortnite, and this is what it broke my heart when the Master Chief skin came out, or like the Naruto ones came out. They're like,
I
it's the
heard
guy
about
from
that.
and I thought it was a meme, but I heard kids actually say it, it's the guy from Fortnite. And I'm like,
No. No.
no.
Please tell me you're joking.
No, they were. I can't make this up. They were like, Master Chief, the guy from Fortnite. Naruto, the guy from Fortnite. I'm like, oh my
Someone educate these kids. Unless if no one else is gonna do it, then I guess you and I got to step up to the plate here, Devin.
God, listen. I'm gonna be like, go to the PlayStation Store when it's on sale. Buy this $5 game. You'll enjoy it.
Thank me later.
Yeah, thank me later. Golly, I will say this though: Dragon Ball Z, the new Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero, they've all been playing that, and I'm like, good, you guys are getting cultured. Now that one takes me back to when you said Tekken and Street Fighter. Oh my goodness, it plays just like that. Whew. I don't know if you've
It's
played it.
I think I have seen some gameplay from that particular Dragon Ball game.
Mm,
And how it's formatted pretty much like a classic Street Fighter game.
mm,
Um, but honestly, my Dragon Ball Z games, I grew up with the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkai.
that's
I
it.
think
Yep,
is it Budokai Tenkai?
that's the one I'm talking about.
Those were the
Those were see. That's how Sparking Zero
masters.
plays. So Sparking Zero, it plays just like Budokai Tenkaichi. You'll love it. Go get it. It plays it down to the wire, and it'll make you just as mad as the early 2000s. I was playing as Goku. No, I made somebody so mad. I was Goku during the Buu saga. I just stayed in his base form, and somebody had. I don't know if you're caught up with Dragon Ball. Now they have like God Chi or whatever, basically.
Yes,
And
like the gotcha system.
yeah, and somebody was Goku in his God form, and I just stayed in his base form, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna mess around. I'm not gonna try. When I'm telling you that game is just like it was back in the day, making you rage quit. And the guy was like, I'm done. I was like, oh man. But the
One more
campaign,
round.
yeah, I
One
know.
more round.
Definitely get it. It plays like the old games, and then you can set the controls to the old way. So if you're like us, where we played it, we're like, okay, this plays just like the old way. You'll pick it up real quick, but it'll make you so mad. It'll make you so mad. You'll have
It
memories flooding in.
It's all part of the experience. There, if you're back in the day, if there weren't moments where you're absolutely rage quitting and ready to smash your controller through the television screen, you're not
You're not.
properly gaming.
Yes,
You need
that.
to play a game that makes you feel that.
God, yes, I'll be playing that in the living room, and my wife will just hear me go, God, and she's like, "What are you yelling?" I was like, "You just don't understand." Because my wife's a gamer too, but she didn't play the Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi series. She was like, "I like Scooby Doo and Barbie,"
What
and
I have to I have to know. Now I have to know what kind of Scooby Doo games.
it was the one for the PlayStation era. It's the oh gosh, oh I can't reach it. It's the
Was it like Night of the Thousand Frights
it
or
was that
Mystery
one.
Mayhem?
It was that one for PlayStation and GameCube. And what was the other one? It was that one and the other one. It was three of them. She's definitely played the first one cuz she loves side platformers and she's such a big Scooby Doo fan. So it's like we'll play through those and Resident Evil. She loves the Resident Evil series.
Ah,
God, but I can't
this
get
is a
into
good
them.
one too.
I can't get. I struggle bus. That's like. But when we do the, cause another thing too that these kids. Oh hey Lily, come here Lily, come here Lily. You gonna meet somebody? Somebody wants to meet you. Uh,
Now we got another puppy joining us.
yeah. If she. Oh, all right. Well, it's okay. When we done recording, I'll grab her. She's like, hey dad, bye dad. Um, but yeah, it's always those series, and God, these kids just don't know. Like they just, it's just Fortnite. But if it doesn't make you want to throw your controller, then you're not playing right.
You darn right. Um. Oh, that did. That's another. Speaking of rage quitting and gaming, for all of my for all my fit for all my going back in the early 2000s, late 90s days. Anyone who played Mario Party,
God,
you
oh
know
my.
that feeling. You know that
Yep.
feeling.
No, my
Friendship ender.
it was that one, and no, that one will end friendships. God, hey, I'm gonna steal your star. Don't you steal my star?
So much screaming that I did during my childhood. It was insane.
God, it was Mario Party. Um, what was the other one? It was Mario Party, Dragon Ball. I feel there was a third game. There's a third game that also ended friendships. Maybe not Smash Bros. Is my maybe not Smash Bros. For me growing up,
but,
not really.
but Super Smash Bros. Another
Oh yeah,
solid, yeah,
who's your main on
solid
Smash
franchise.
Bros?
Which are we talking about? Ultimate or which entry are we talking about?
The newest one.
The newest one,
Mm.
Ultimate. That's toss up. I've done a lot of I've done actually Princess Peach solely because very technical. I
Uh,
like the technical aspect in fighting games.
mm.
Sometimes hard to pull off combos because of the technical that's included, but it's so satisfying. I like Yoshi. Um,
Yoshi's a good rounded
K
one.
Rule.
Mm.
K Rule. I also like. So glad he added them in that him in that game. And I also like the Ice Climbers. The Ice Climbers are
I
another.
struggled with those too. Yeah, that's a good one too. But I struggled with them.
I
And then
actually I actually of some years ago, back when Brawl was the newest one that came out,
mm,
I actually won a tournament using the Ice
did you
Climbers.
really?
I did.
Oh man, my mains right now, and this is, I drive people crazy, but I like Captain Falco, and I'll just sit there and just charge up. They're like, no, 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 and I'm like Falcon Punch, and
Falcon punch.
just send them across the map. I've really gotten good with Pokemon Trader. Pokemon Trader is difficult, but only if you can master it and if you're quick enough to change them out. Pokemon Trainer is a good one.
Is that the is that correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the Pokemon game that's like the MOBA?
Sorry, the in Smash Bros. You remember how you can be the Pokemon trainer?
Oh,
Sorry.
yes. I thought you meant like a Pokemon game in general. My
Oh no,
apologies.
sorry. The Pokemon. Remember in Smash Bros. Ultimate where you can be Squirtle, Bulbous. Well, yeah, it was Squirtle,
Squirtle,
Charizard.
Ivysaur,
Yeah,
and
Ivysaur,
Charizard.
Charizard. Yeah, that one. That's my second main, but I that one's kind of hard. But I've learned that if you get in a situation, as long as you can change, because they each have their own special skills. If you can change to the one you need real quick, you're good to go.
It's all about finding the right counter for your for what your opponent and their move set.
you ain't lying. Another one that I hate, and anytime I fight somebody with this one, it's Nez from Earthbound and Inca
Oh god,
from
yeah.
the Angel one. Nez, oh god, you would.
God.
Ness makes me want to throw a controller. Anytime somebody picks
PK
Nez,
Thunder.
yes. Oh my god, and that's all he's. Oh my god, just triggers.
uh him and Lucas.
Yes, both of them. I just see them even when I do like the little even when I if I'm not playing a line or if I do like just a random bot one and I see those two and I'm like, I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, it's
I don't want to play.
immediately cut out and stop the game. Stop
Yeah.
the game. I'd rather not.
Oh god. Another one, and I like to mess with people is Jigglypuff and Kirby. But those two can take a hit.
They can. They're surprisingly for both of them being two tiny little spheres. They're absolutely they're annoying and they have a pretty handy tool set at their disposal.
Mhm.
Down B with Jigglypuff, anybody?
Yeah, everybody's like Jigglypuff stinks. I'm like, really? It's not bad. Like I'll mess with friends and I'm like, they're like, oh, why are you Jigglypuff? I'm like, I'm warming up. And Jigglypuff and Kirby can absorb some hits, and it's like this is why.
they're
Uh,
they're 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 an annoying pair, that's for sure.
God, they are. But yeah, okay, Spence. This is my last question for you. Before we hit the
All
outro,
right.
what is some advice? What is some advice you wish you knew? You knew that you wish you knew when you first got into voice acting.
Good question to end off on. I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that I wish people would inform me of is number one is people think that doing voice acting it has to do solely with well, you're just using your voice behind a microphone. But I've come to learn as time has gone on from multiple mentors and workshops that I've taken
Mm,
that using your body when you're reading lines tremendously boosts your performance
mm,
and your reads. It's because anyone can read a line, but if you have fun with it and you move your arms and move your body and bring the scene to life like you were acting on stage, it tremendously alters the change in your performance.
right.
That and don't be afraid to fail. Do not be afraid to fail, or because everyone does. Every there you will find out a lot of times in your career as an actor or a voice actor, you'll get a lot more rejections than you will acceptances, and the rejections, while they may hurt at first, they actually help you grow and improve. They mean a lot more than an acceptance does, which
Mm,
sounds silly to say, I know, but a rejection really helps you to get better and to want to learn more and to develop and push yourself even harder. So don't be afraid of those. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And last but certainly not least, connect with people in the industry, because I've had personal experiences where I was terrified to reach out to people that I look up to in this business and scared to put my name out there and to ask for advice and some questions. But this industry, as I've come to learn, is one of the friendliest and most supportive groups of people that I've ever had the opportunity of meeting.
mm,
People, everyone in the voiceover field, they want you to excel, they want you to be your best, and they want you to work as hard as you possibly can. They're here for you, they're not working against you. So don't be shy, connect with people. You'll be pleasantly surprised to find out that there's so many people, even those that you look up to, who are more than happy to give you a hand and help you out.
awesome. Well, guys, um, as always, that was our last question. And hey, uh, Spence, do you have any last words before I hit the outro?
Real quick is if you want to learn a little bit more about me, feel free to check me out over on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok. I'm on LinkedIn, and I also am on YouTube. So if you want to go check me out over there, feel free to do so. You can also support my business or contact me for any business inquiries that you may have from graphic design to voiceover over on my email, which is spencetyrannastudios@gmail.com, or at my website via the contact form, which is www.spenserlong.com. And that's about going to do it for me.
All right. Thank you. And as always, guys, you can check me out on my podcast, the More Sports Podcast, the Sports Podcast for Everybody, as well as our movie review podcast, Popcorn Buckets, where we review a movie every Sunday. And hey, as always, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Random Incorporated, where you can see the video version of these interviews that we've done this past year, as well as this one and some other little bit of content that we've made. Starting up the YouTube channel. It's some interesting
Yay!
ones. Yeah, yeah. Oh man, hey, follow us on social media. We're on Instagram as Rando Bucket Boys, and hey, we're on Twitter as Rando Corporate One. Until next time, guys.
See ya.